sharing my screen.
And we're live. And,
Okay.
we have Cheryl Oakes from Maine, who is a Google certified teacher. He's going to be sharing with us different ways that we can include all learners in our classroom instruction. Cheryl, take it away.
Okay. Are you seeing my screen right now?
We are.
Okay, excellent, because I'm not seeing it, so I'm going to have, That's interesting. I'm still seeing you. Oh, wait, let me hide that.
We can see it fine, Cheryl.
You can? Okay. So here's my presentation, and I have to, it is a Google slideshow, and if I went into the present mode, you can see my shortened URL right here, the goo.gl/LZ lowercase lv capital XN.
Now we're not seeing that, Cheryl.
You are not seeing that.
We're seeing a blank white. So I'm wondering, when you were sharing your screen, if we have to share the whole desktop or a different screen?
Can you see this now?
We can.
You can see where this is the Hangout.
Dave's going to write that on the board, I think.
Okay. All right, then I'm not going to go into the presentation mode. I'm just going to stick with this, and you'll have to just know that it's a presentation, but I'm going to go in and out so that you can see everything.
So Dave's going to write it on the board in big letters in case people want to see it more intimately on their screen, and we'll also add the link. It is capital L, capital Z, lowercase l, lowercase v, capital X, capital N.
Correct.
XN. Okay, so we wrote it on the board so that people could still get it later, and we'll put it in our notes.
Excellent. All right, so what time is your lunch break or your next break?
We're thinking that maybe if we spend a half hour with you, that'd be awesome.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm going to move down to my next slide. The only thing that I'll tell you is I've been a Google educator since 2008. I've been a special educator forever, but I went out into the mainstream and worked as a technology teacher and a technology administrator, a special ed administrator, and you can read all that later. But I'm back in special education and working on Google Chrome apps and extensions, and just seeing many, many improvements for students and a lot of buy-in for them. So what I'm going to work on today, and at any point just jump in and interrupt, ask a question, clarification. I'm going to talk about Chrome apps and extensions and how they can level the playing field for challenged learners. And Lucy, have you talked about apps and differences between apps and extensions this week?
Just a little bit, and we're going to go into that after lunch. We figured this would be a great reason why to want to know more about apps and extensions. So.
Perfect. So I'm going to really just drop into it and explain as we go along. I'm not going to have you just say, okay, this one's an app, this one's an extension, but you'll see why there is a difference. So when you leave the Hangout, I'm going to have shared apps and extensions for educators, apps and extensions for students, and some fun extensions too. And I can imagine you're all just looking at this and being excited because I don't get any feedback right now, so that's what I'm going to put in my mind.
I should point this towards everybody, but yes, I'll give you a thumbs up, everybody.
Okay, all right. The first thing that I'd like to share, the apps and extensions for educators, I have some great student stories about using these. And 3 years ago, our school became a GAF. We became a Google domain. And the nice thing about being in a Google domain is that your whole population has access to the same material. And they have the same tools available to them at school and at home throughout all of their classes. And that has really been the game changer for us. And I'm a special education teacher, grades 9 through 12. I co-teach in a science class and in a social studies class. So I really have a lot of impact using these tools and converting teachers and converting students in other classes into using these. And you know, once they start, they're just amazed at what they can do. So the first thing I want to talk about is the extension Slide Speech Convert, and I put an E next to it because it's an extension. And I'll show you what it looks like. This is a slideshow that a student prepared, and right up here, I don't know if it highlights Slide Speech Convert, right at the top menu. And the student prepared this great slideshow, and I think you can barely see where he's typed in some information into his notes that says the Aztec Empire began in the Valley of Mexico in 1428. So after he prepared this great slideshow, he did not want to present it to the class. And we looked at the extension Slide Speech Convert. What that does is that will read his notes for him. So any information he put in the notes section or presenter notes, the slide speech will convert and have the computer voice present. So that's to show you that was his example. And here's my example. I'm going to go to Slide Speech. And I have to log in, and under my slides, I have only one result here, and I'm going to play a demonstration of what would happen if you had Slide Speech Extension. Now for this student, what we'll do is we'll allow him to do his first couple presentations using this Slide Speech, and then the goal would be to get him to do his own presentation and speak in front of the class by the end of the year. So this is just a quick demonstration of what it looks like. And there is one slide, slide number 4, where I didn't put anything in the speaker notes so that you can see the difference and hear the difference.
This is a way to introduce and differentiate presentations to your challenged learner. I would have this be their first step, and then by year's end expect them to present live to their classes. Add images and talking points. Images in your slide. Talking points in your notes. Make a checklist. Images on each slide. Proper citation. Talking points in the notes section of each slide. Final image to conclude. Conclusion. Answer the thesis question. Add your opinion. There are no speaker notes on this slide. Help your students be independent and provide a workable process for student success. Make sure you make the slide public in the sharing features.
Okay, so that's what happens at Slide Speech. They take the slides and turn it into a video that can be played with the notes providing the audio. Were you able to hear the audio part?
Yes.
Okay. All right, great.
Really impressive, Cheryl.
Thanks. That is a great one. That was a game changer for a couple of students this year. Then I also have a link to the frequently asked questions. Their Slide Speech Convert is a little touchy about how it works. It works great, but sometimes it doesn't upload and you have to send your slideshow to Slide Speech. And you would do that here under File, and email as an attachment, and the directions are in the FAQs, but you would just write to convert@slidespeech.com, attach your presentation, and voila, go back to Slide Speech, and then you'll have 2 things in your slides, and it will be all right there for you.
Thanks for that tip, because I've had a couple people give up because they didn't know about that.
Oh, don't give up. I have the address right there. It works, but it is a little funky. If I'm going too fast, just let me know. So here's another trick for students who are working and they have to write an essay. Now, you know, with our LD population or ELL students, challenged learners, if you ask them to write an essay, they are just automatically turned off because there's a blank piece of paper in front of them and they don't know where to begin. Well, we started using this Google presentation as the jumping off point. So we put the questions, we have the title, we have one question, the student's already done research and answers that question, and over several days, answering one question at a time, the student has enough information for an essay. So what we do is we use the tools right in Google, and we go File to Download, and drop down to Plain Text, and then it opens up in .txt, which is very plain. The students are not impressed when they see this. However, when I highlight and change the format with font size, I say, look at what you've done. You have a 2-page or a 1.5-page essay. What we're going to do is we'll get rid of some of your questions. We'll put some transition sentences and make your essay from this with an introduction, supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. And this has been a game changer for students, especially high school 11th and 12th graders who've not been successful as freshmen and sophomore because we didn't have the Google tools. But this really made a change for them. They had the buy-in, and they would complete their slideshow. Now, some of you may say, well, why didn't you just stop right there and let them turn in the slideshow as their essay? We've moved on to that point, and for some students, depending on their disability or their accommodations, we accept the slideshow as their essay. But it's just a great way to get students to transition from that blank piece of paper, question response, tie it all together, and turn it into an essay.
So Cheryl, 1 second here. I think we're wondering. Okay, we're okay.
Nope, it's all right.
You didn't get to see any of that.
She didn't show us all of that. She was just telling us.
Right.
You were on an. We can show you how to.
Did you
okay,
see
so,
under File? Do you see that? If I drop down to Download as Text,
you see where it is?
Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
That's hard. It's just the size. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, all these links are here, and you're able to go back and try it out. Okay?
I'm going to pause for a second.
Sure.
Couple questions, or are we all set for her to go to the next one? Thumbs up. Keep going.
All right. Excellent. Okay. This is one of my favorite. Read and Write by Text Help. It's an extension, and it's free for educators. And so I have this link that you would click on. Oh, no, I don't. I don't have a link to Read Write, but you can just click on text or go to Text Help, and there's an educator section, and educators can sign up for the free version of Read Write, and you'll see why you want to do this in a second. Read Write works inside of Google Docs. And you'll see this is the Read Write icon that I'm circling my mouse over. And along the top, you'll see a menu bar for Text Help. And are you seeing all of these icons for highlighters and a broom?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to step back to my slideshow. You do not see any of the Read Write extensions here. It's only in a Google Doc that you'll see it. You'll see the extensions for now. So this is a great tool because students can use this for their self-edit. So they've written something that they need to listen to and see if they are on the right track. And in Read Write, you can click the play button.
These apps and extensions level the playing field for many challenged learners.
So that's pretty cool. The other thing that we use with this is, well, let's see if I can find something. I'm going to highlight the word barge, and we have a dictionary. There wasn't, oh, it highlighted for story. I don't know why. Barge. Now I have the dictionary that pops up with the definition. I will X out of that. I have a picture dictionary, and it pops up with the picture of the word barge. Now, this picture dictionary is limited, but I just want to show you that it does have some vocabulary for your ELL and challenged learners. So that's pretty cool. The next icon we have is the play, where we listen to what I had written. And then we have some highlighting tools. And so I've determined that I want my places to be highlighted in yellow. So I'm going to say Portland Harbor should be yellow, and South Portland should be yellow. How many have heard about that Google barge? Any hands?
No, not too many. One, two hands, three hands.
All right, I'll show you in a second after I wow you with this. Anything that is related to time, I'm going to highlight in green, and soon should be green because that is related to time, and points unknown should be yellow because that's related to places. So all of this is pretty cool. I've gone through my article. I've decided what I'm going to look for in terms of places and time, and that's going to be important when I write my answer or a reflective summary. And this little recycle button here is called Collect Highlights. So I click on Collect Highlights, and I want to sort by color. I could also sort by position in the article, but I'm going to stick with color. I say OK. Over on this side it said, hey, we're collecting your highlights for you. It opens up a brand new Google Doc. Are you seeing that?
We are.
Okay. So now my yellow highlights are for places. The green is my time. So what I would do is I would go back here and I would grab my key, because I made up my own key, and I would paste it in here. And now I have the link where I got that information. If I had used the article like I did here, it would have the link right here from the Press Herald for where I got my highlights. And just for those of you who are Google geekies, this is the article in the Portland Press Herald, and it did create quite a stir when because I linked to the article. Google barge. Hopefully it'll bring it up. Yeah, because it is pretty cool. There's this Google barge in Portland Harbor, and nobody really knows what it is right now, but it's slated to go to different harbors, ports along the coasts of the United States and show off Google Glass and the Google cars and all kinds of groovy things. So that's one way that you can use read, write text. I can move my menu bar up out of my way, and I can drop it down. Pretty cool stuff?
Very cool. I have a question about, it's free to teachers. What about students?
For students, I'm going to show, students can download the extension, and they don't have the translation feature. They're limited in some of the features they have, but as text help gets more and more of a relationship with Google, they're providing more and more things free as part of this, because it's been so successful. The one thing that is free is it will play back to you and the highlighting tools, and I'll show you that in a second because that's in another place. But I want to go back to my Google, to the article in the newspaper, because here's my read write icon again, and this is also free. So for students, if they install the read write text extension, now I'm out on an article, I'm in my Chrome and I'm in my account, and I can have this article play.
Google's four-story barge, which first docked in Portland Harbor in October, was moved to South Portland on Wednesday and is said to be leaving soon for points unknown.
So that's a game changer for a lot of our students, to be able to go in and listen to an article that everybody else in the class is reading, and they're not being slighted by reading something that doesn't look the same as everybody else. Questions?
We just have a lot of that's awesomes in the background.
Yeah, good, good. Okay, I'm going to look at the research tool within Docs. Are you all familiar with that yet?
We actually did do research tools, so you can pick up at whatever point that you want to wow us with. They did the beginning already.
Perfect. We just like it because there are no lost papers. Did you do the citations?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And did you do the add-ons yet?
We did not do the add-ons on research tool, no.
Can I take a couple minutes and do that?
You sure can.
All right. So in the add-ons, yours probably will be empty unless you go to Get Add-ons. But the add-on that I want to show you that is free from Text Help is the Text Help Study Skills. So I scroll over and I show my highlighting tools. It opens up in the same place that the research tools open up. And what I showed you for highlighting this article, I don't think, well, I'm going to try it. I'll see if it will pick those up. And I'm going to go by color, collect my highlights. It says my highlights were created in another document. Click here to open. And there they are. So that's just to show you that those tools are available free in the add-ons. And the other thing, Easybib, even though that's part of the research tools where you can cite things, Easybib is another great tool for the add-on. It allows students to cite their sources with either MLA, APA, or Chicago, a book, a journal article, or a website. We really like this because our students used to go from the article out to Easybib, back and forth, and this is just a lot quicker. And any questions on that?
Questions? I think we're okay on that one.
Okay, good. Lucy, did you talk about Google search and the reading levels and a voice search and an image search?
We actually have a plan to do that later this afternoon, so
we're going to skip right over that. My fun one is Amazon extension, and I need to go to an article, and sometimes when I'm researching things, I see something that I want to purchase, and I click on my Amazon extension, and I can add it to my Amazon wish list. I know a lot of schools are beginning to crowdsource and put out a wish list of things that you want the community to help support. So this would be a great way to do it. I have several wish lists, one's for school, one's for my kids, one's for me. So just a fun extension to have as you're browsing and searching along. You could just be dumping things. You can go shopping without going shopping. All right, next one, moving on. Apps and extensions for students. On your menu bar, you have something that looks like Sudoku or Rubik's Cube. It's called Show Apps. And if you click on that, oh, I didn't want to do that. I just got rid of my slideshow. If you click on that, it will get rid of the page that you're on, which I didn't want to do, but I have it opened over here. These are all the apps that I've installed in my Chrome. So the first one is the Chrome Store. And if I go to the Chrome Store, I'm going to do a quick 30-second apps versus extensions. Readability is, when you go into the Chrome Store, you have apps, which is broken off from extensions. And Readability is a great extension that I use, and it's in my student list. And we call it the red couch or the red cushion. So if you don't have an app or extension, you click on the free and add it to your browser. If you do have it, you can rate it, or you can just observe what it looks like. It says Readability, and then it has the little cushion couch, and you'll see that up in the center of my menu bar. So really quickly, apps, extensions, and I'm going to show you the differences as we click through this page. The first extension is a great one for students, and I'm going to open up a web page, and I'm going to look for iSpeech. So I'm going to go to Time for Kids. I want to get rid of my read write. Oh, not getting rid of it. Can I get rid of it there? There. So I double-clicked on the read write app, and it came back. What I'm looking for is a way to help me read this article in Time for Kids. So I'm going to highlight a bit, and on my menu bar, here's my Universal Resource Locator, where I type my URLs, and then you'll see outside and along the top, all full of extensions. And if you haven't added any extensions yet, your Universal Locator will pretty much take up the whole top of your bar. And I'm going to look for a speaker, and if I hover over it, it says in teeny tiny letters for ants, convert text to speech. So I've highlighted a bit of the text.
On Monday, powerful storms blew through Massachusetts, causing extensive damage in the coastal city of Revere.
Again, just a quick tool. Once a student adds that extension, they've got that available to them no matter what machine they open up, no matter where they are. They can use that free tool from school or home. Questions on that?
Questions, anybody? No, we're good.
Good. All right. Read write. I've already shown you that it opens. It's this little read write icon. You open it up, and you can, if the page is able to be read, it will open up that little hovering menu bar. Rewordify. Any people in the room? Have you heard of Rewordify?
No, we're all wondering what it is.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, Rewordify is, it's not an extension or an app yet. You need to go to the website. But I predict within the next 3 months it's going to be one of these extensions or apps. I'm going to go to my page about the estuary. And I have some information here. This is a little bit difficult for me to read, so I'm going to grab some of the text, not that much, and copy the text, and I'm going to go to Rewordify, and rewordify.com. You can use this without logging in, but if you log in, you get a ton more features. So I'm going to log in, and it's a free registration. And I want to get back to my home and enter your English text. So I paste my text in there, and Rewordify is going to take some difficult words and change them and make them a little easier to understand. So it took estuary and added river. It didn't really add that much, but it said that it changed. It gives you a reading score. It said that you're almost at the easiest level. I think I need to go back and grab a little bit more text to make this work. I'll grab the whole part. And when I used this about, well, a month ago or 2 months ago when we were in school, so many things have been added to it. So I grabbed my paragraph, Rewordify, and it changed a couple more things in that paragraph. You can print it. You can have closed worksheets, vocabulary lists, quizzes. All I have to do is click on the learning activities at the top. It asks me if I want to learn the 3 new words. Yep. Nope. Students really like this, especially students who have a hard time summarizing and have a hard time with vocabulary. I have one student, Victoria, and she just goes crazy over this. She goes, you know, after I Rewordify, it's technically not plagiarizing. It's already changed it for me. And I said, yeah, you're right. You're right. You can still make some changes. But, you know, she saw the benefit of this right away. So the learning activities, I just want to show you a close activity. I would click on print, and here's the article, and it's grabbed some of the words out. Here's my word bank. How easy is that? Thumbs up if you think that you could handle that as an activity in class. Or you can set up a matching sheet from this. And granted, I only had a paragraph, but for some kids, this would be a challenge. It will also give you the answer pages. So rewordify.com, my prediction is it will be an extension or app within Google pretty soon. Questions?
Oh, that's great, Cheryl. We have about 5 minutes left, I think, before, and I know there's probably, you were going to do Newsly or Dojo? Or
if you have seen those, I was skip them.
No, we haven't.
Okay. News ELA and Dogo News are a link to the Common Core. What's nice about News ELA is, number one, free subscription, and they also have a pro account. Let me just look at this article. I can create my classroom for free, which I've created, grade 9 support study. I think you can see that. I can put articles in there, and I can select which reading level I want, the Lexile 1280 or a Lexile of 780. It changes the reading level on the fly. I didn't have to do anything. It has an online quiz, and I can put students in my class, and I can see when they've read the article, and if they've taken the quiz, I can see that. So News ELA, dynamite. It just became an app, and let's see. It's now right on my page at the very end, because it used to just be a web page. Now Dogo News is an app, and News ELA is an app. Dogo News, really quickly, is another great website aligned to the Common Core standards. And what's super about this, they have all kinds of articles, different categories. You can send the articles along to people. It gives you vocabulary words. It builds those in. The other thing that it does is it will let you create a word search about the article. So again, some of your work is already done for you. Quizlet. Are people familiar with Quizlet?
We've got some yeses and some nos.
It's I'm going to skip that one because they can collaborate with each other, but it's just become an app, which means it can be part of your Chrome browser. And Readability, my students love this. I'm going to show two things. See how wild this page is. If I clicked on Readability, which is an extension, and I click Read Now, it takes all of the distractions away from the sides of the page. And hopefully, no, that's a copyrighted one. Okay. Let's go to the estuary. Not too much distraction, but if I go to Read Now, it takes away the distractions and it puts the font nice and big. I can change the font. I can send this off to an email. I can share it with other people, and it gets rid of the extra pages that if you were having to print this, it would take care of that. So check that out. Other resources, great resources by Eric Kurt. I think it's Kurt. Another one by John Calvert. Animoto for Educator. I always love to talk about that. If you're not familiar with Animoto, it's a great way to take photos and turn it into a quick video. And way down at the bottom of the page, they have a little tiny link for education. And instead of paying $29 a year, you are a teacher, you can apply to get a free Animoto account, and you can use that code for your whole classroom. My students love that. And the last one I want to share was Prezi. It's a jazzy slide presentation. Have people seen that?
Have you guys seen Prezi? Yeah, most everybody seems they've seen Prezi.
Excellent. Then I'm just going to jump right out of that. And last but not least, stay in touch. You can find me at CherylOaks.com, Twitter, Google+, Seedlings that Lucy mentioned. And later on, you should definitely check out the Google search story if you haven't seen it yet.
I actually put Morgan and your story in our Google community for the school last night.
Yay! Yay!
So, a couple nights ago, I think it was. Questions for Cheryl?
Were all of those free?
I think everything she shared had a free version. There was some that had pro versions, but I think everything had a free version.
Correct. I'm all about free, especially because I want my students to be able to take those tools with them.
And one of the things that I know that Google announced at ISTE, did you go to ISTE this year?
No, I didn't. Next year. I'm going next year.
One thing I heard that they announced, and I have not had time to play with it, was that these Chrome apps that you saw are now going to be sorted and organized in the Google Play for EDU store, so that even if you don't have the Google Play for EDU is available on tablets, which adds a whole new level of accessibility for students. But you can also push out some of these apps, Chrome apps, into certain students' browsers, so they don't have to have the challenge of, oh dear, you know, how do I get all that? It's going to be right there on their browser. That's what I had heard.
Yes, and we actually do that when our students, because we're in our domain, when they log into the domain, we have Wells High School apps that we suggest for them, so they just go through and add those right from that one spot.
Right. Cheryl, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great finish of your week of learning. I imagine that you've had your seatbelts and your goggles on because it goes fast.
Talk to you soon, Cheryl.
You bet. Bye-bye.